always thought I was a surfer dude at heart. Too bad I come from landlocked Austria. The nearest thing to an ocean there is the Italian Adriatic, not exactly known for surfing. Gondolas, maybe. My move to LA didn't solve my problem either. With all the traffic, all the smog, and a million people in the water, I had a feeling that true dudedom lies elsewhere. When my friend Philip came up with the idea of taking a trip down to Costa Rica, I was all for it. Trust me, he said, the sea makes a man who he is. At least down there you don't get a ticket for a broken taillight because the cop thinks you have a car bomb. And when my horoscope said, go on an extended trip through lakes and spas, I knew how to read it. It all started falling into place. So we collected our fellow Austria dudes and prepared ourselves for a journey into, well, we'd find out when we got there. We thought of everything. CB radios, fake press passes, playboys to bribe the federales. We even left the Anglo-Saxon habit of competition behind us for a while. Our enterprise is going to be a matter of the universal cash flow. This was going to be a 7,000-mile-long surfing pilgrimage and business trip at the same time. We figured we could sell our cars in Costa Rica for twice what we paid in LA. Easy. This, in return, should buy us 3 months along the shores of Central America to learn about the secrets of surfing. It's a lot of what surfing is all about, to find ways and means to stay in the water. We didn't come up with this. It is a classic, executed by generations of surfers before us, the free ride. The American surf writer Allan Weisbecker cranked it up a notch. In the 70s, he established a lucrative weed pipeline between Colombia and New York, just to keep surfing.
It didn't even occur to us to get a job. We used to buy a kilo of hash for like $80, and that would go. We could sell that for $2,000 in the States. You know, we had this faith in surfing and that we were doing these things for a good reason. You know, to stay in the water.
We slightly modified Weisbecker's reasoning, sort of easy rider ultra-light for a bunch of landlocked Austrians. Anyway, Weisbecker's approach had some serious flaws. Learjets, dope, and money corrupted him. Later, he called his career in drugs a betrayal of the faith. The ocean is a judge that can't be bought. It detects guilt, remorse, fear, or just a bad vibe in an instant. A serious storm sank his boat in 1978, loaded with 100,000 pounds of pot with a street value of $200 million. Weisbecker was rescued by a fishing boat. When he walked up to the captain to express his gratitude, the captain said, "You were in no real danger. The man who was born to hang needs not fear the water." To 5 guys from Austria, these stories sounded like fairy tales, the myth of the surfer dude. I guess we were looking for answers we didn't even know the questions for. We had no idea what it was going to take and what we were going to come up with. We just wanted to break even at the end of the day. That was the whole idea. The zero-sum game. First lesson we had to learn was patience. A watched pot won't boil. We decided to wait for the next swell in Todos Santos in the south of Baja. It was time to adjust our body clocks to the rhythm of the ocean anyway. We'd hook ourselves up with the cycles of nature and have the big equalizer level our heads out.
If you flew, how much it cost you? Well, you got a house too, right? They're easy to work on too this year. If it made it from LA to here, hey.
With no waves to ride, neighborly bonds tightened in Camp Baja. Philip had supposedly researched the sale of the cars thoroughly. At times I wondered if it didn't all sound a little too easy. But for now, everything looked just fine.
You guys don't have any dishwashing soap I can borrow, do you?
Yeah.
Right on.
Have a nice day. I'll see you guys when the waves come up.
Yeah, I've heard like 4 phantom swells have come through here already.
You want a cup of coffee or something?
Oh, no, it's all right. Get our fire going, try to cook some pancakes or something.
Soon after the boating incident, Weisbecker quit smuggling for good. His experiences, though, qualified him as a screenwriter for Miami Vice. But he could not take that for long either. He had to make his peace with the ocean and the ideals of his youth, so he called it a day and drove all the way down to Costa Rica. Same thing we were going to do, except he never went back. Later, he wrote a book on that trip, In Search of Captain Zero. I asked myself what it would be like to sit him down at the end of the road and have a chat on the sublime psychological sensations of surfing. His credo has always been, if you take care of your surfing, surfing will take care of you.
Wenn du in den Norden schaust und die kleinen und die großen Wagen, wo dreht sich dann der große Wagen hin?
Surfing is a matter of balance. Physically, financially, mentally. East, west, north, south. High tide, low tide. Cosmos, cash, and karma. The equilibrium, the zero state, is the cross total of existence and order. Edwin, ever the city slicker, had been very hesitant about coming, but he didn't want to have to listen to our stories to the end of his days. I mean, even if the car deal didn't work out, we should still be able to sell the story to some magazines back home. A piece about Weisbecker was Playboy material anyway. We just needed to get an interview. So I started to do some research, while Philip and Edwin made themselves useful in town. Generally, the quality of a wave depends on the way it has traveled before it breaks on the shore. The farther they have come, the longer the interval between them. Long-period waves are more lined up and have more power. Weisbecker once surfed a swell in the Caribbean that had been generated by a storm off the coast of New York. That very storm drowned 4 friends of his on a fishing boat. 3 days later, those waves reached the Caribbean. So timing-wise, it was theoretically possible that he surfed exactly the same waves that had killed his friends. It was the same piece of energy.
Die California-Boje ist auf 17 Fuß. Das sollte eigentlich runterkommen.
The waves were on their way. After a long week of waiting, we finally got our fix. 4 to 6 feet at a period of 17 seconds, well overhead for Jacob, the only member of Team Austria who, at this point of the trip, was able to capitalize on La Pastora's long right-handers. Surfing's function as a cleansing ritual is obvious, a joyful, purifying exercise. When James Cook discovered the Hawaiian Islands and first saw people surfing, he wrote, "I could not help concluding that this man felt the most supreme pleasure while he was driven on so fast and smoothly by the sea." But it was too good to be true. It was subversive. The church and the new government banned surfing. It produced an undesired feeling of happiness, and, moreover, was associated with gambling and sexual activities. As a consequence of the cultural clash, a major part of Hawaii's population died of the bacteria the new rulers had brought with them. Surfing sank into oblivion. When we first arrived on mainland Mexico, we had a decision to make. Either we took the route across the mountains, or we'd drive along the coast. The thin mountain air could potentially cause problems for the car engines.
Problema clásico,
Es clásico eso. Y hace usted se compra el termosol y se pone de vuelta. Por ahí complicado. ¿Mande? ¿Complicado? No. Aquí va el termostato, aquí en esta parte.
Okay, para el momento, bueno,
Sí,
si la ocasión cambia.
The coastal route was long and winding. Part of it was called Bandit Alley. Well, we just wouldn't drive by night. Bad boys don't get up early. Bandidos and desperados have a long tradition in Mexico. The legendary Pancho Villa killed the man who raped his sister and became a revolutionary. Together with Zapata, he occupied Mexico City during the Civil War. Pancho Villa was and is a hugely popular man, allegedly married 26 times. The only one ever to conquer U.S. territory on the continent. His sons and daughters are all over Mexico. As we moved south, we came closer to another of Mexico's sanctuaries, Puerto Escondido, the heaviest beach break in the world. Puerto Escondido, we moved into the hotel opposite the main break. Puerto lies open to the forces of the ocean. Half a mile off the shore, the Pacific is still 1.5 miles deep. The ocean shakes the beach with uninhibited force and creates a symphony of sound and shapes of strange dimensions. Ever since the fishing village was connected with the Mexican highway system in the 70s, the wave has created some serious business for Puerto. We came just in time for the first south swell of the season to hit the shore. Both the Pacific and Puerto awoke from their winter sleep. Looked like someone had dropped some quarters into the big washing machine. In the morning, the wind blows offshore and creates perfect conditions. We hooked up with Pablo Postigo, a Spanish ex-pro. We definitely needed some advice. First thing Philip did was to break his beloved 7-0, shaped originally for world champ Sonny Garcia.
So there's a moment there that you're moving up and the lips are moving down. It's like a guillotine. It'll take your head straight off if it hits you. The tube breaks in a way that it makes a chamber, a gas chamber, which spits you out. It's the spit. And you look down and it's pretty scary because the wind's coming up the face of the wave. Sometimes it goes kind of silent, and other times it just sounds like a tidal wave.
Also made his money with Puerto's world-famous tubes, known as Mexpipe.
Usually what I do is I shoot photography in the morning. In the evenings I come to the shop and I sell pictures to all the tourists that I shoot. Well, we haven't really had a big swell yet, but May, when the big swells come, it cleans it out and it sets up the sandbars for the summer. And you know, that creates the big dunes and that creates the, you know, the perfect waves. What we measure is by the back of the wave. So it's like, it's 4 to 6 foot. I guess in California, they 12 to 15 foot. Even the guys that come from Hawaii, they have a lot of respect for this place. It's not a reef, you know, so it's it's a sandbar. So, you know, a 30, 40-foot wave here is just as heavy as probably a 60, 70-foot wave over there, because there's no channel here, really hollow, and you know, it's open ocean. You know, once you get lost out there, it sucks you out. Yes.
The wave works more or less like a cement mixer. It sucks so much sand from the bottom of the sea that it feels like a house tumbling down when it finally breaks. Philip and Jacob got to experience that firsthand.
La situación por la cual Puerto Escondido tiene mejor oleaje es por el fondo marino, y facilita la formación de olas, es más difícil.
No sabe por qué neve fractura. No, un poco.
We're fine. Here?
Sí, más.
Here? You give you medicine?
Sí.
El último accidente fue hace algunos años, en el cual un surfista sufrió un golpe en el cuello y quedó parapléjico, o sea, inmovilizado del cuello hacia abajo.
For centuries, the European conscience struggled with the problem of the meaning of life. Camus used the myth of Sisyphus to symbolize the painful lack thereof, a black spot, an infinitely echoing paradox in the depths of the Western mind. Surfers don't think in these terms. When the answer cannot be put into words, neither can the question be put into words. Timothy Leary was fascinated by wave riders. Surfers commune directly with a separate reality, driven and governed by nature. Each surfer becomes a religious specialist, needing not the intermediary service of a priest or a shaman. Each wave ridden becomes a ritual connection. Surfers don't talk like that. Nobody wants to jinx his split second of eternity by dabbling in esoteric speculation. Keep it simple, keep it safe. The solution of the problem of life is seen in its vanishing. No questions asked. Anyway, time to see what the championship board was doing. It was in the best of hands. Miguel fixes the broken boards in Puerto, another endless task.
La ola de cicatela, no necesitas hacer maniobras, solo derecho en el tubo y salir del tubo. Many surfers from all the world, no? Many Japanese, Hawaiian, yeah, he come from Puerto. Yeah, I fix many boards for him, no? For professionals, no? Tony Boy Gómez, Sonny García, Bunga Perkins, Ro Machado, yeah, for a lot of pro. Kelly Slater, no? Yeah, he was here 2 years ago, I think so. Yeah, I fixed work for him. Yeah, he liked my work. Almost broke my back, surfing big waves. I can surf no, pero small or slow waves. 20,000 boards I fixed in, I think, 20 years. Better for me, stay on the beach, waiting for the broken boards.
Edwin's 9'4" deluxe ocean liner was just not made for Puerto's radical corners. The very hotel hallway would cost him a trip to Miguel's shop. Afternoon was time for the boys to collect their trophies for the family album from Ruben. While David and I had to commute 2 miles to the south in order to get at least some water time.
Hola, la punta, por favor. Gracias.
La Punta, a left point break, was supposedly easier to handle. Puerto is all about getting barreled. If you don't get at least a glimpse of that green room, of that tunnel between here and now, you can hardly say you've been there. Allan Weisbecker and his contemporaries of the psychedelic revolution also tried to establish metaphysical corridors with the use of drugs. Barrels, on the other hand, are simple gravitation devices, particle accelerators. They create a zero moment in which nature exhibits its forces in their purest form. The miracles of gravity disintegrate time and space for one moment and one person at a time. Australian surf champ Nat Young once wrote, "I went into a tube where everything went dark and time was suddenly suspended. When I emerged, night had fallen. I remember that looking out from inside, the tube looked like wagon wheels in a movie, rolling forwards but appearing to be going backwards."
That Argentinian girl was off her head, huh? She was straight into you. You make these calls, I feel like just going, dude, get a life.
¿Dónde es su hermana? It's a great way to start the dialogue.
Sits there, drinks your drink, and you go, where is your sister?
Schaut ganz gut aus da drüben. Ich schau mal vor.
I don't think she, that's something like that. I don't think that. No. She was full on serious.
I love your style. You're so truthful. surf in the Basque Country in San Sebastian. The whole house faced the beach, so my friends would call up my house to have a surfer boat. And my mother would look out the window and she gauged the ship as refrigerators. Over one refrigerator was really good news.
We headed inland to the Mayan ruins of Palenque. We were more than reluctant to sacrifice our oceanic peace of mind to a civilization that had ceased to exist more than 1,000 years ago. It was a matter of respect. We figured we might as well. The hills of Chiapas are still Subcomandante Marcos's territory, Indio land. Prior to the landowners and the conquistadores, the Mayan high priests exploited a people of peasants. The core of their power was their acquaintance with the number zero, a tool of stunning mathematical efficiency and philosophical impact. In return, advanced mathematics afforded them a comprehensive understanding of the cycles of nature and astronomy. Their ritual activities, as in many agrarian cultures, were centered around an ecstatic and bloody cult of time. Their temples were cosmic watches. The West avoided zero for centuries to come. Zero referred to nothing. It meant nothing. Its inherent properties conflicted with God and infinity, and could eventually, once its imminent powers were unleashed, cause the downfall of age-old beliefs. Buddhism speaks of a fifth element besides earth, water, fire, and air. Nothing, the void, the origin of the other four. Indian mathematicians were dealing with zero for centuries before Einstein finally pinned the void down. His theory of spatial curvature required cosmic zero states, black holes, gates between nothingness and infinity. For surfers, emptiness is nothing scary. Process and result are equivalent. The zero state, the balance, is the goal. It is life on level zero, on sea level, leveled out. After 6 weeks on the road, we left Mexico behind us. We were halfway through. The next part of the trip looked like a rough ride. 6 days, 5 borders, hardly any waves. But then again, the sinister charm of Central America. The dilapidated cathedral of Antigua, desolate, grandiose. The charm of an enchanted garden. Six men and only 2 hotel rooms at best. We called ourselves Los Hermanos Calientes under the merciless sun of Central America. Bad roads, cattle herds, vultures. We hit bottom in Honduras, where we stayed in a former prison, with nothing but porn on TV and a cracked mirror over the bed. It had all the charm of a Latin American S&M dungeon. The elusive moments on the waves and in the woods sank into a world of greasy pimps with guns and short tempers. Central America's full of dime novels. In Nicaragua, word was out that a swell hit the shore. No matter how beat up we were from driving, we still played it by the rules. Never drive away from breaking surf.
Also wenn ich in Honduras verdient, ganz schön.
50 miles north of the Costa Rican border, we found ourselves at a very delicate point of our undertaking. How exactly do 5 Austrians import 2 American cars into Costa Rica in order to sell them? It sounded like a bureaucratic nightmare. Our worries, although understandable, were unnecessary. Decades of dealing with Austrian authorities had prepared us very well. We took care of the official part of our used car deal con bravado. Costa Rica, the promised land. 3.5 million inhabitants and a great number of American expats. Austrians helped draft its constitution, a little bit of home away from home. Along comes a decent number of classy breaks, among them in Witch's Rock, one of the most amazing scenarios in surfing. In Playa Negra, a consistent right reef break, the Pacific rewarded us with solid 6 feet. Our focus switched from getting there to being there. We followed Weisbecker's travel route and crossed the country to the Caribbean side, to Puerto Viejo, a comparatively well-developed village in Costa Rica's hypnotic east coast. Without Salsa Brava braking, Puerto Viejo was narcotic and paralyzing. Plus we were down to our last colones. Without Weisbecker and no barrels ridden, we hardly had a story to tell. It was time to roll the dice. We discovered that there was an import tax on foreign cars of a certain age that would eat up half of our profits. Looked like a couple of smartasses had tried the stunt before us. That lowered our expectations drastically. And on top of everything else, I couldn't get hold of Weisbecker. David had to take on a job back in LA. Just before Team Austria really fell apart, Philip sold the jacked up Toyota for $4,000. half of what we would have gotten without that stinking tax. Not what we were shooting for to make the trip pay for itself, but enough money to keep on rolling. What we had to do now was find Captain Zero. We knew he lived down south in Pavones on the border to Panama, at the longest wave of the northern hemisphere. Austrian surf legend Max Schaleck came on board, mostly for moral support. The man who claims to have introduced the concept of easygoing to the Austrian people, with so little success that he had to emigrate to the Canaries.
Weil die gesagt, fahren wir nach Zancudo und fahren wir einfach die Küstenstraße entlang. Das ist immer.
¿Para Pavones?
Gracias.
From our little observation balcony, we could oversee Pavones easily, but only the last third of a wave that breaks for more than a mile. Chances were, if Weisbecker was still here and still surfing, he'd show up at some point.
Das war nicht, dass dieser aufschläft, oder das nutzt überhaupt nichts. Das ist immer das Verkaufen, unbedingt. Was kriegen wir dafür? Wir meisen um 120.
I think it's one of the best waves I've ever surfed in my whole life. The quality of the reef is unbelievable. I feel it's like in flamenco, musicians have what they call duende, and the duende is it's like the magic. It will visit you very rarely, and it's always so healthy for you to go out in the ocean and so cleansing. And I think I never come back to shore the same person. It's not about surfing, it's about living that lifestyle around the ocean. It's one of the beautiful things of surfing is getting to know a place. I really try to fall in synchronicity with the ocean. I ran into this black longboard which the people here in the hotel had in their garage, and the thing is weighing like 20 kilos. It's totally waterlogged, broken up, and I had some of the best rides in my whole trip. You know, this old black single fin. So it goes to show that it's not really about the equipment a lot of times, it's about your state of mind. Surfing turns time inside out. Barrels kind of trap time and take them back into the ocean. You know, I've just made that up, but it sounds beautiful.
And that's where we were, after chasing waves for some 7,000 miles. Nowhere left to go, and not much left to do. Waiting. Speculating. Contemplating.
Schau mal, Pablo.
the end, we almost forgot about Weisbecker altogether. But then he showed up.
Jetzt wird's psychologisch nicht.
And hurried to the beach with the confident steps of a lifelong nose rider. And that's how I got my long-anticipated surf lesson.
The energy of the wave is potential energy. It's high up. My approach to it is to put the board high in the wave and very parallel to the wave, and walk up to the nose and enjoy the ride. I find exactly the right spot on the wave, and I don't have to do anything. That's longboarding. The best waves here are from a direct south swell, 180. This is like 190 or 200, which is close. And there's something about the shape of the bay here that funnels them in. There's nothing else on the planet like surfing in that way, where a bundle of energy comes for 10 days for your pleasure. I'm not sure physicists would be real impressed with this theory, but there's something similar to a wave breaking and certain aspects of energy and the cosmos. I'm looking for a moment of tranquility where I'm in a very precarious place, but I'm relaxed because I know that I'm in the right place. It's sort of a Zen moment, where your mind is really blank. You don't have a sense of time going by. Where everything is exactly the way it should be. So you know what I mean. You find it. I've seen you find it. It's a meditative moment. That piece of energy comes, you use it, and it's gone forever. You know something really amazing happened, but you can't quite describe it. If you talk about it, you ruin it. You know, The magic of it, like many things, is in the doing. How do you describe a moment where there's nothing going on in your head? It's a mindless kind of bliss.
Yeah, I knew. First I saw